So I believe truly that an agent in 2027, 2028, an agent who doesn't have AI in their business is going to be about as relevant as an agent who doesn't have a cell phone today. That just isn't going to be a normal practice. It can't be because there's so much hustle involved that those who get ahead faster are just going to take the cake.
Well, welcome everybody. My name is Dr. Cynthia Tant. I'm with Sip Sell Repeat here in Pensacola, Florida. And I have the honor of talking to Lauren Lucas today. And so she's a real estate entrepreneur, AI strategist. So she's going to clear all this stuff up about AI, and founder of ProfitPulse, an AI-powered CRM for real estate professionals. That's what I've been seeing a lot out there right now. So you've built one of the top performing real estate teams in the country. I see you have a Keller Williams shirt on. Is that
I
right?
do. I do.
There you go. Keller Williams Classic Properties, featured expert in Forbes and what we got? Forbes and Yahoo Finance. Okay, I'll go on the other way of not the finance part, but for me, I came up a different way. But tell us about yourself, Lauren. Let us know who you are, what you're doing right now, and how much fun you're having in the real estate field.
I love it. Yes, I'm Lauren Lucas. I'm an agent in Columbus, Ohio. Started off getting licensed in 2017 as a solo agent, built a team the absolute wrong way. And then
Yep, don't
finally,
we all?
my current partner and I started our team in 2019. So the team's been around for almost 7 years now. And just loving exactly what we've been doing is, helping people build family generational wealth and build their family trees through real estate. And it's honestly all started because no one ever taught us this stuff. And so I figured it
That's
out and started talking about it.
And I was very fortunate when I came as a professor here at the University of West Florida. A woman real estate investor took me by her hand and she said, and I wasn't in real estate at that time, I was a professor, and she goes, "You need to buy real estate." Okay. I didn't know what I was doing. And my brother and I had substantial money at the time. And compared to this is in 94. So the prices of homes were a lot less, of course. And we were able to get into a lot of properties with a lot less cash, of course, and everything. But that's how I didn't have a clue as to what I was doing. And she just took me under her wing and taught me a tremendous amount. So I really am thank her every day because of it. So
That's
when you
amazing.
got started, what did you do before real
Yeah, so
estate?
actually, I have a degree in criminal justice administration. So I was a small town Ohio kid who was taught graduate, go to college, get the
Go to
job,
college?
do your 30 years, and maybe someday you'll be able to enjoy your life. And about 6 years into my first career, it's a whole different lifetime ago, it feels like at this point. But about 6 years in, I was like, there's no way I can do this for 24 more years. And
Yeah.
I walked into my annual or biannual review, and they actually told me to slow down, said I was doing too much. And that was my aha moment of what am I capable of if my bosses are telling me to slow down here? So,
So how did you get into the real estate part? I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
So I actually,
interesting because I've been asking people on this show, women on this show, and they have all different ways to get
oh,
into this
yeah.
business.
Yeah. Yeah. So I actually had tried to buy my first house while I had that job. I was in my early 20s and I had no idea. I didn't know what I didn't know. And I found this house and it was in 2012. Found this house and I said, I think I want to buy this. And I did not know that I was able to have my own buyer's representation. So I went to the listing
Oh,
agent
yeah.
and in 2012, it ended up being a short sale. And that
Yeah.
9 months was absolutely terrible. And fast forward, I didn't end up getting that house because it was a short
Oh,
sale. But I started to realize what went wrong. I started to Google kind of what a short sale even was and what had gone wrong. And so when it came time for me to leave my first career, I was like, I think that I need to go help more people who were in my position and educate people on how to purchase a house because in 2015 I finally did purchase a house, and I said if they could actually understand what's possible, I could change a lot of my friends' lives, and so I did. I went and got licensed, and I was the only one of our friends who owned a house at that time, and I was house hacking it, so I was making money, which is
there
always
you
a good
go.
way to buy your first house. And so
Yeah.
my first 2 to 3 years, I helped a lot of my friends, a lot of my sphere of influence, actually start to build wealth through real estate.
And that's also it just is I've been very fortunate now because I've been in it for almost 30 years to also have the children of the parents who bought the houses and to see the grandkids and the whole, I mean, just the generations coming up. And then because they, let's go, Dr. Cindy, let's go get the house, you know. And, but an amazing feeling to be able to get someone in their first house, but then to be able to show them how to invest. I've got a couple of young men, some guys that were just crazy in their late 20s, and now they're doing extremely well with their into the millions of dollars into their real estate and their families, and I'm so proud of them, just because I they weren't doing so good back then, and now they're doing
Right.
really,
Well, and I
it's so
think
fun
too,
to,
I mean, yeah, and I'm in a fun part in my career now that I've been licensed for 9 years. I'm starting to get the
mhm,
repeat clients who I
yep,
sold 5 to 7 years ago who do have six figures in equity and haven't wasted six figures on rent. And
hmm,
you look up and it's like that's a $250,000 in difference in, just a few years. And that's life-changing money for a lot of people.
oh, absolutely. And I don't know, I'm dealing with a lot of older individuals who are transitioning into assisted living and selling their house because that's their biggest amount of money that they're going to have, and
Yeah.
they need that extra income going. And so, talk about referrals. My 95-year-old mother referred a 100-year-old friend. And so, and her, I know when you think of it, and her
I love
98
it.
and friend, and my mom's the only one still at home, being my brother's her caretaker, but referring her 100-year-old friend, I just laugh about it because Faye was great. And her daughter, who's 78, says, I want my mother to sign the paperwork. I said, okay, because she's still of mind that she could. So it took a little bit of time, but we went to the assisted living where she was at. We got her moved into there, and she's just signing away, you know. And it was so much fun to see that. Um,
Absolutely. And those are the memories and the moments that,
yeah,
you realize you're not just selling a house. You're actually, helping someone into the next chapter or to start the next chapter or to at least build that equity nest egg to get them where they want to be. So,
yeah. This was her only house. She owned it for 65 years.
yeah,
You know, it was never updated. It was not in good shape. Let's just say that. An investor came and paid it. But we got a pretty good investor that they are going to knock it down, but you know, at least they're going to build something in the area that fits the area. So we're
good.
not telling her they're going to knock it down. We wouldn't want her to know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
40, what is
Um,
that? 65 years of memories. Yeah.
yes. Yeah. Well, I had offered to purchase it myself, you know, like about 2.5 years ago. And then she wanted to give it to her son, and her son didn't do anything with it, nothing, and just let it go into further disrepair. And then finally she said, I'm taking it away if you can't help me, you know. Anyway, so we got it back.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
well, yeah, when you got started and you helped your friends, do you remember any special story that just hits, or anyone that you've worked with over the years that just like, okay, this was the,
Oh my
it
gosh,
just,
so many
yeah,
people. And like I said, we were just never taught this stuff. So they
yeah,
didn't
nope,
know, a lot of people were like, I'm never going to be able to save 20% down. And I'm like, you don't need 20% down.
right,
Or they're like, oh, 850 is a perfect credit score. My 750 will never do. And I'm like, your 750 is just fine. Just a lot of little things that like were these myths that society had just taught us all these years and starting to see them realize like maybe this is possible for me. And like I said, now fast forward all these years and seeing them sell and
yeah,
clearing 100,000, 140,000, $160,000 equity, I'm just like that was everything. And I'm so happy that I had built trust in those people in the beginning, because very much so they could have been like, oh my gosh, like that seems like a scam. Like no, and kind of rolled with what society had taught us. But a lot of first time home buyers who didn't think it was possible, a lot of single mothers who were
yeah,
able to get their families in a home. I've had a lot of, like I said, generational where I've helped my friend and then their parents and then their grandparents, kind of like
mhm,
you have, a lot of death, a lot of divorce, just
yeah.
making sure that people are in a safe place because that sets the tone for everything else in their life.
Now we move into the new AI generation of tools. So I know scaling, and so now you have a brokerage yourself, correct?
I don't. I'm with
Is it,
Keller Williams. I own a team.
you're showing
Yep.
Keller Williams as a team, but you have a team. I'm sorry, I meant to
Yep.
say team.
That's okay. Yeah.
So the team itself, then I understand systems, and as we've developed and evolved into real estate, how do you see AI coming into it? I'm asking all kinds of people. I'm going to a conference in September where it's up in Canada where robots are going to be waiting on us and doing all. I go, oh my gosh, this is going to be fun. But it's just like, okay, well, let's see it. Let's see what we got going on.
Absolutely. The conversation always starts with, is AI going to replace the real estate agent, right? That's where everybody starts. And my answer
Yeah.
is no. We are in the relationship driven business. I mean, our job is to build relationships and help the human. What AI is going to take off our plate, though, is the tedious and mundane things. So we can show up as a better human being face to face and not be buried under all of that admin work that most of us are. I think, honestly, though, what I foresee happening, and just to preface this a little bit, I've become a national speaker, an international speaker on AI. I've done over 150 keynotes and workshops, and I've seen a lot of different markets. And what I see happening is in about 12 to 18 months, what's going to happen is the agents who are already implementing AI are going to stop talking about it because it's already done. And the agents who aren't implementing are going to stop talking about it because they're going to be like, see, it was just a fad. And so the gap is going to get what I like to call a gap year, right? It's going to get harder for those who didn't implement to keep up because those who did are moving faster and they're not as burnt out. Because this industry sold us a lie of you've got to be the first in, the last out, work every weekend, open houses, all these different things. And a lot of people, they confuse activity with achievement because we were given these awards for all these different things, and it doesn't have to be that way anymore with tech. So I believe truly that an agent in 2027, 2028, an agent who doesn't have AI in their business is going to be about as relevant as an agent who doesn't have a cell phone today. That just isn't going to be a normal practice. It can't be because there's so much hustle involved that those who get ahead faster are just going to take the cake.
So how did you get into the development? What's it called? Profit Pulse. How did you get
Yeah.
into that?
Yeah. So the reason I got into AI in general is at the end of 2023, we had lost over half of our team. So we had 7 agents and we went down to 3. And so walking into 2024, I'm like, how the heck am I going to keep this going? And so I dove deep into AI for a couple of reasons, but understanding what it was able to do in our business was able to increase our business over 30% in GCI volume and units in 2024. And so again, that's how agents who are using it are gonna take market share. But I built out of necessity. And so everything that I've built was, okay, let me take my system and completely burn it to the ground and see where I can plug AI and build version 2, right? And that came from lead generation, lead follow-up, reactivating your database, every aspect of our world. And so after a few months of just, okay, this is inefficient, let's rebuild it over and over. You build in phases. And when you look up in 6 to 7 months, I mean, it's 75, 80% automated. And it's even better than a human could be because we're not missing calls or missing text messages and burning out. And nobody likes to get ghosted and rejected like we do a lot in real estate. So just doing the tedious and the mundane things so we can show up as a better human is really the key to all of it.
I know we were on a call. I can't even remember who it was. We were on a call and then said something. Somebody asked that question, what will AI replace? And then, in the chat, you're going to go, I don't think AI is going to be able to fix the toilet. Okay. I mean, just like kind of like we got to have some people still doing that and was get ready to kick out of it. But,
Yeah.
I believe that too. Like the people because I'm on the tail end and getting out right now. It's like, but to see as I was talking with somebody from my generation of starting on an Apple IIe computer and doing a dissertation, it took me 2.5 years to do with black and white cameras and stuff like that, where you take the phone right now and it can do it in 3 minutes,
Yep.
it took so long to do it. And then just how the time is. So that, what would you say to someone who is hesitant to get started in the AI? Because there's so much coming at us at once. There
Yeah.
really is. It's coming everywhere. And whether it's in your brokerage or whether it's on a podcast or whether, what are one or two tidbits or tasks or something that you could relate to someone, the gal that listening to this right now and says, okay, I want to do this, but what do I need to do?
Absolutely. So the first thing I would say is most people get paralyzed because they think they're not techie, right? So changing the conversation of AI from a conversation about tech to a conversation about curiosity, because you don't have to be techie to use AI. You just have to be
Mhm.
curious. And what I mean by that is if you don't know how to use AI, open up Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT,
Right.
and just ask it. Say, hey, I'm an agent and Columbus, Ohio, I have no idea how to use you. What can you do? And it will walk you through step by step everything that it can do for you. And so I think that is step one, is understanding that you don't have to have a tech background. You don't have to know how to use a computer. If you can click a button with a microphone on it and talk, you can use AI.
And how much, because I've had some discussions on some of the information that's coming out, and we've had
Yeah.
some discussions where people are using it to point to create, and so the same kind of listings are looking alike across,
Yeah.
in the same, because it's pulling everything from whatever. And I know the next generation is going to be running behind the scenes instead of us prompting it the whole time. I understand that.
Yeah.
How in this in our world, obviously we have a brand, hopefully we have a brand, and promote our brand. How do you feel that AI is going to be able to separate ourselves out versus all being sort of similar? Not everybody, but I mean, from what they're pulling off of AI.
Yeah. So to your point with there's so much coming at us, right? As agents, especially an entrepreneur in general, the only two
Yeah.
things we need to focus on is lead generation to scale our business and efficiency to get our time back. Everything else is just noise. But when it comes to, how are we going to do this? It really just comes down to the understanding that it is not here to replace us, and it doesn't have to be that like robotic sound. The more you train it to sound like you and make decisions like you, the more clarity it's going to have on what it is you actually want to do. So for example, if you and I both get on ChatGPT and say, create me a listing description for 123 Main Street, it will be very basic and very vague until you actually train it on how you talk. And when I say train, people get overwhelmed because they're like, well, I don't know how to train AI. It quite literally can be as easy as uploading an example of something you've already written, or giving it examples of emails or listing descriptions or whatever it is you're having it create. So it starts to, because it's just pattern recognition, it starts to understand how you talk, where the pauses are, the words you use. And the more you train it, the better it's going to write and act like you. But the AI slop that's out there, you're absolutely right. Most people haven't trained it. And so the AI on a specific topic says the same things and just regurgitates it in different ways for different people. That's what you're seeing
Well,
out there right now.
and I've got some newer agents and they're using it, and then I'm reading their listing. I go, no, that's not from the
Yeah.
listing perspective. This house, I said, no, it isn't this house, so you basically need to read at least before you
Oh,
stick it in the
100%. 100%. And I
and
think too, a lot of people are using it to become lazy. And no offense to anybody who's doing that way, but they are, right? They're trying to be like, "Oh, I don't have to do this," or "I don't have to do that. AI can
right,
do it." But here's the
right.
thing is you have to trust but verify, right? AI is not perfect. So you got
Yep,
to read through everything and make sure it's
yep.
accurate, make sure it sounds like you. But also, when it comes to the output that it's giving you, it's one of those things where, again, you have to tell it, don't use real estate jargon, don't use buzzwords, don't use asterisks, don't use M dashes. And until you learn those things, you don't know to tell AI not to do those things. And so those who are using it to become more lazy, it's a clear cut of who those people are. Those of us who are using it to evolve faster and learn more and collapse time are the ones who are using it to move faster and not sound so robotic, because we understand kind of what those different context platforms and frameworks that it needs actually are. And so it doesn't seem so robotic and AI written.
So are you do Claude or ChatGPT? What are the things that you right now at your level of expertise
Yeah.
using? I know everybody goes in ChatGPT, and then there's Claude,
Yep.
and there's Agentic. Is that what's coming up or
Yep.
something?
Yeah, so ChatGPT was the first to market at the end
Right.
of 2022, right? So that's what most people are using. However, I'm on Claude majority of the time now. Now, the learning curve for Claude is a lot different because most of us are used to that chat feature of I pay $20 a month or just use it for free and I get as
Right.
much output as I want over and over. Claude works a little differently because Claude watches your usage. So the more context you give it, the more it eats what's called tokens. And think of it like if you went to like a Dave and Buster's, right? I give you $20, you give me a certain amount of tokens. When the tokens are gone, the tokens are gone. I either have to wait until it re-ups or give you another $20, right? That's the difference between the two. However, Claude has a lot different features as well. It's not just the chat like we're used to in ChatGPT. They have a browser extension where you can have it actually do things for you on the internet. It has co-work where you can download it to your computer and have it actually do things on your computer. It also has code. So it has a lot more powerful options than just a chat thread that's going to give you an answer. It's actually going to go do things on your behalf. And that's where you start to save that time.
Pretty cool. I haven't really gotten involved in it that much. I just am
Oh
looking
yeah.
at.
Yeah, and any of them, whether you're on ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, it doesn't matter. A lot of them you can connect different apps. So at the very least, I highly recommend you're connecting apps that you're comfortable with, such as
Mhm.
Gmail, your calendar, Canva, things like that, where then you could just open it up and say, hey, I want you to go to Canva and create this for me. Or I want you to go email Dr. Cynthia and see if she's available on Friday for coffee and put it on our calendars. Like that's where it can start to get more agentic for you if you're just getting started. But the agentic features, I mean, that's a complete game changer in what's evolved in the last 6 months.
And that's behind the scenes. It's actually thinking, from my understanding,
Oh,
from a
yeah.
broad. And
It's
instead of just
thinking.
prompting it, it's actually taking everything and thinking.
Yep. It's
And
thinking, it's reasoning, it's building its own to-do list, and then it's actually going and executing that to-do list.
dang, this is like crazy. Do you, gosh, they're building all these AI centers and the power or the that's going to be needed for all this. I don't think that, well, I realize it's not going to take our spot from being realtors, I know, because we are still in a person business. But where do you see some of this affecting people we work with or people who are want to buy a house, our consumer? Do you see anything of that?
Totally. I mean, it will replace jobs. That is
Yeah.
hands down. I don't think it's going to replace our job, but it will obviously replace jobs. And so to the consumer, I would say learn AI as a skill. I don't care if you're a data analyst. I don't care if you're in the medical field. I don't care if you're in the restaurant business. Start to learn AI as a field because that's going to be job security for you, right? And if you remember back when social media started to become a thing, people were like,
Mhm.
oh, the newspapers are in trouble, the magazines are in trouble, these big web developers are in trouble. But what happened is, yes, it took jobs, but it also created more jobs. And so I think AI is going to do the same thing. There's a lot of jobs that we don't even know of today that will be here in 5 years because of AI. So if you just learn the skill, the foundational skills of, how do I talk to it? How do I prompt it? What's even possible? That right there is going to save you in the future from being completely cut out. And one of the things that, I mean, as realtors in general, think of it this way. We remember, well, you remember when the MLS was in a book, right? You had to drive across
Right.
town, get the keys, drive them back,
Yes.
drive the paper, hand
Yeah.
sign.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
the agents, there's still agents out there who are still doing the paper signature all the time or faxing things all the time. Those are the types of people and jobs that are going to get
Yeah.
left behind is because they just can't produce at a high level. But I think for a lot of people, don't be scared of it because
Mhm.
yes, there are obviously economic repercussions, there's environmental repercussions, there's a lot of things that we just don't know yet. It uses a lot of water, it uses a lot of data, uses a lot of energy, but so does driving a car, so does being on YouTube, so does all these other things. And so we have to either adapt and evolve and find ways that we can do it ethically as best we can, or not adapt and evolve and just understand that this is happening with or without us. And it's not me standing my ground on saying I don't want a data center in some area that's going to stop AI from actually becoming AI, right? And so understanding for me specifically, being in the AI space, what can I do to make more money to help offset that in however I can? And that's not going to be typical for your consumer. But again, all these different things are just how can I be the best I can be and how can I combat as much as I can combat without getting left behind?
The ladies that are listening to our podcast here, how can they get in touch with you? Let us know
Yeah,
how we can get you when they, as far as what you offer. I know you got Facebook, all that. But tell us how we can
absolutely.
get.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm on all the social medias, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Substack. All of my handles are the same. It's Lauren Lucas _RE for real estate. So you can find me anywhere there. But I offer one-on-one coaching and consulting. I have a community full of, I think we're at like 160, 170 real estate industry professionals who are all learning and scaling together. I do events across the country and into Europe. I have podcasts that are all over. If you want to just look my name up on YouTube, I'm sure you'll find something like this. There's a
Yep.
lot of ways that I'm out there. And like I said, I want to empower more people to change their lives and not just have this sale over and over because that's not scalable.
Uh, well, that brings up the good point. Scalable.
Yes.
Okay. So when we start talking about the systems, what is wrong with my camera? I'm
You're good.
moving across. Am I moving across the screen?
Not until you did this. No.
Okay. That's kind of weird. Anyways, from the scalability. So if you're building a team, okay, that's where you're looking at, right? Or not only the team, but how many homes or whatever else your expertise is. But the scalability, when you start looking at how does AI change that based on your systems, I know that you're implementing. Okay,
Yep.
so what's one or two systems that you can say, take a look at this, and then go?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think a lot of the reason that people burn out when they scale is because they're taking on more responsibility, right? The more
Mm,
people we grow, the more people who
right.
come to us, the more homes we sell, the more we become the therapist and the negotiator and all these different things, right? And so having a
Mhm.
system in place is huge. And AI can do everything from keeping you organized, where I could say, hey, every morning at 7 a.m., send me the top 5 people I need to contact. That's a very simple way to use AI. Or you could say, hey, here are the 10,000 contacts. AI, I want you to go through them and show me who's the most engaged, who has the most equity, and send them texts and emails and get them on my calendar and things like that. So for me, what I have set up as a lead generation system is the one I'll use for you. I post a lot on Instagram. And so I could post on Instagram and I use AI to have a call to action that says, comment this specific word. So, for example, if I were selling the beach house behind you, I would say, comment the word beach. And then people would comment the word beach, and I would automate with AI sending them information on that property for sale. And then from there, I would automate giving them, hey, if you're interested, here's a link to my calendar. And then I would automate pre qualifying them of, hey, now that you're on my calendar, please tell me more about you. And then I would also automate, now that they've told me more about them, getting them into my CRM, doing all the follow up for me. So no longer am I the one that's having to be the bottleneck in all of that. And I can just lead generate 24/7. AI handles the heavy lifting and it just bridges the gap from the time someone finds me to the time I show up to that appointment. And when I show up to that appointment, I'm 3 to 5 steps ahead of any other agent because I've already pre qualified them and I've given them everything that they need so far.
And so, how, based on using that automated, obviously, it's going to save you time on that end. How many clients are you working with any period of time? Are you heavily buyers or listing or either or
We're
both
about
or?
70/30. Yeah, we've got a lot of move up buyers who are selling and buying. But
Mhm.
for me, like I said, I mean, I travel all over the country and do all the things, and it's just a repetitive system. But I mean, we can have anywhere from 20 to 30 in contract at any time. And it's one of those things where it's you show up as the human is the added touch. The system
Yeah.
behind it is they're getting what they need in the moment. And so there are days where I'll have 4 or 5 consultations on my calendar without doing anything. And there's other days I'll have zero. It really just depends on, what content I'm putting out, how narrow I'm getting on that content. Because a lot of agents talk about, I work with buyers, sellers, and investors.
Yeah.
10 years ago, that worked. Now that doesn't. Now I have to be solving a specific problem for a specific person. So the more clear I get on my messaging, my positioning, and building that trust, the more exposure I have to more people and using AI to basically hack the algorithm and getting more
Right.
reach on my posts. I mean, it really is it's free marketing flywheel of just getting in front of people over and over again.
Yeah. That's where I've got younger, obviously younger agents and stuff working with me, and and it's all women. So it's like, this is great.
I
I
love
have my
that.
one property management guy. He's been with me for like 12 years. He goes, Cindy, he goes, I know. He says, all women. He goes, I know, but
Yeah.
it's fun because they're younger and they're coming in a different scenario than when I started. So I'm trying to stay up on it, like
Yeah.
trying to learn from you and trying to implement things within the brokerage. And it's been very interesting on how I can't do everything on my phone. I just can't do it. It just doesn't work for me. And I have to be on a desktop or a laptop or something. And then they just laugh at me. I said, the phone is too small. First, I can't see all the letters, they just laugh. But but they're ready to learn. They're eager to learn. And so if for me to get them into your system or get into your program, what would it's the Profit Pulse, right? Is that yeah,
Yeah.
where can
So
I get to?
yeah, so Profit Pulse is the technology that I've built. So it is a
Okay.
CRM one-stop shop that has literally everything in it. And you can just go to myprofitpulse.com to get a
Profit.
free 30-day trial for that. Now, if they
Okay.
actually want to learn different skills, I would go to my
Right.
community. And that is if you go to my Instagram, it's right there in the link in the bio, where they
Okay.
can join that community. And that's again where we mastermind 3 times a week. There's a full classroom where I teach things. So it's very much so I want to learn this so I can stay ahead of it, not just I want the tech to
Right.
do it for me.
Well, that's what several of them I would, well, this one gal, I mean, she just went right out. She won't use her own database and she knows everyone in town. So she's going through my dead leads and making 6 sales. I said, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
Because I don't know any other way to do it right now. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
But
Well, and
her
I,
database is just sitting there.
yeah, and I think that's part of the scalability too, is so many agents are like, I need more leads. Well, why don't
I know.
you check the leads that you
Use your
have, right? You've got a lead
database.
problem. Use the ones who already know, like, and trust you. Don't go spend thousands on what if cold leads who you've got to nurture for the next 6 months.
And her partner is very well known architect here in our area. I mean, just the name, everybody knows her. And so it's just like it goes with Michelle's contacts are know you too, so why not? Oh, I don't want to know that. Oh my god. So we're
Yeah.
trying to get over that hump right now. But
Yeah.
she's doing really good for another, just right out of the bat, six in her first 3 months. And she's going to school full time, 15 hours at the college. I go,
That's
are you crazy?
fantastic.
I know.
Yeah.
But so we're going to look that up. I'm going to send some people over that way,
Yeah.
obviously. Is there something, let's see, I'm trying to look at some of these questions. What's the next chapter of real estate look like, you think, for women with AI playing the role?
Yeah. So I think honestly, AI is going to allow women to offload a lot of the heavy lifting that we do, right?
Mhm.
Like I said, we scale a team, we become the main hub for all those people. We scale a business, we
Right,
become the main hub for all those people. So I think what AI is going to do is allow us to work smarter, not harder. Show up in different ways, show up more human, even though that sounds completely contradictory to AI in itself. But again, like
right,
building these systems of like, what is like when I take a listing, what does that look like? Okay, now I'm doing 26 manual tasks. Where can I plug in AI so then I can go take 3 listings in the same amount of time it takes one? And so working
mhm,
that way is going to be, where I see women headed. And I think too, a lot of women, we've been again sold this lie of like, you have to be the hero, you have to be the one that everyone needs all of the time. And it's just not that way anymore.
yeah. And I mean, that what you got moms, and I've interviewed, I don't know, I don't have any children, but it's like moms, and it's like how they're handling it. And then oh my gosh, I interviewed one of the gals, was it last week? Maybe 2 weeks ago. She has 6 kids under the age of 8, and she's a top producer. And I'm going, how are you doing this?
Yeah. Well, and
you
I,
know,
I think it comes down to what I kind of did is I stopped waiting for permission. I stopped waiting for a
mhm,
table that I could find a seat at and just built my own table. So if
mhm,
what we're being told to do over and over isn't working for you, find your own way. That's one of the beautiful
yeah,
things about real estate is all of us can run our businesses completely differently and still be successful.
yeah, that's great. I don't want to hold you up anymore. You have been so helpful
Yeah.
to me. I love talking with you. You've got some great. Is there anything else you want to share with the ladies on the group right now? That
No, I think honestly, like I said, just start before you're ready. Stop thinking you have to be techie to use AI and stop waiting for permission. Just do what you got to do. Do it your way. Don't let anybody tell you different.
There you go. Love it. So thank you so much, this is
Yeah.
Cindy Tant. We're signing off here with Lauren. Oh my God, I forgot. Lauren
Lucas.
Lucas. Oh my gosh. Don't block that out.
That's all right. Awesome.
And
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
if you're inspired by these powerful women in real estate, you'll want to catch the next conversation. Click the video on screen to keep sipping, selling, and leveling up your game.